Left to my own devices, I would stop all children being involved in religion until the age of 16. I would ensure they had a broad understanding of the world and were able to make their own choices as to what they actually believed. Instead, many are told what to think based on their parents' religious choice, who, let's face it, were probably told by their parents what to think. Knowing I'll probably face an uphill struggle in ever getting that idea to pass, I'll settle for something else, the banning of faith schools. If we truly want a society which is tolerant, integrated and understanding of others, we should not be separating the next generation almost from day one on their parents' choice of religion. It's time to abolish the antiquated notion of faith schools. Schools should be there to teach, not to preach.
I don't like banning things particularly, but I also think that in this country, you know, we have the Queen, who's head of the Church of England. She's the Supreme Governor of the Church of England. We have very many thousands and thousands of C of E Church of England primaries. It's like taking the eggs out of a cake if you're going to take faith schools out of the education system. What? Do you object? I'm not quite sure
what you can't have a cake, or you'd struggle to have a decent cake without an egg.
No, it's trying to take the eggs after you've baked the cake, right? Because it's baked.
Where are we going with this?
Faith schools are baked into the country. It's not... And also, parents don't use... newsflash, faith schools simply because they want to indoctrinate their children into a certain
they don't always.
They use faith schools, like very good C of E primaries. One, because they are state primaries. Two, because they are very highly rated. And three, because, you know, they're local schools. And it's very odd to try and say, let's get rid of them all.
Can I just say, if these schools are so horribly bad, Michelle, why is it they are totally...
I didn't say the faith schools are horribly bad.
Well, let me just give you some facts about it. They're totally oversubscribed because parents want their kids to go there. And that's largely because the educational results are fantastic. Yeah. They outflank anything that happens in non-faith schools. The children have an order. They have a way of doing things. So that's why the education is better. They're instilled with a set of moral values. This is very important.
You can do all of that without the faith.
Well, no, hang on, can you? Because that's what faith is all about. But most importantly, a lot of these schools, the results are way and above it. I think it was the Telegraph did their educational supplement in 2016. Catholic schools outperformed non-state schools at GCSE. The Ofsted rated 81% of C of E schools as outstanding. And the most important thing is that the people who go to... There is the faith school cap. So anyone who goes to these schools, only 50% can be of that faith. The other 50% get in nothing to do with faith. So if you object to faith, you wouldn't send your kids to one of those schools. But lots of people want to get in there because of the intellectual
rigour. I don't need to sing
Kumbaya
to succeed in my maths GCSE.
I don't
regard faith. I don't need to be doing prayers. I don't need to be celebrating Jesus.
Do you not believe in a religion? You make it sound like it's all happy, clappy and stupid. For many people, it's the structure to their lives.
And that's fine. You can have a structure without having a religious structure. I don't feel that religion and GCSEs or educational value need to be going hand in hand.
But they do go hand in hand and they work hand in hand. That's the point.
I was quite surprised to find out, I mean, do you know 37% of primary schools in this country are faith schools? 37%. And I think 19% of secondary schools. And you say you have a choice. So actually, in a lot of places, you don't have a choice because your local primary school is a church school. I mean, my kids went to a church school because that was...
A lot of parents fight to get their kids into faith schools.
Yes, but some don't. Some don't. And I personally think there was a time when you could have done what you suggested. I think Tony Blair, when he first got elected, because Tony Blair, because he was a religious zealot himself, actually expanded in that.
Here we go again. I can hear
apology for making it.
But just make it plain.
But you did have an expansion of faith schools at that particular time. In America, they separated state schools and faith a long time ago. And that's a much more religious society than we are.
Okay. Can I interrupt the Blair bashing just to throw in a statistic, which is we have got a very large number of faith schools in the country, but, you know, as the cookie crumbles, not very many people say they're religious at the end of it. 18 to 24-year-olds say 64% of them say they aren't, and 28%, so a smaller number, of 65 to 97-year-olds. Where did they find all those 97-year-olds?
I don't know.
Said they weren't
It's
religious.
cable again.
Doesn't that show that they're not being indoctrinated?
Exactly, slightly.
I think, respectfully, your suggestion is a bit too simplistic, because I think if you want to have a lot of Jewish kiddies educated together or a lot of Muslim, fantastic, as long as they are given a good appreciation of the other faiths, where I side with you, and I won't name any faith, but there have been issues of some faiths, more than one, that have been found to actually be breaching Ofsted regulations because of the way they've taught religious education, religious studies. Now, then I absolutely support you. If you're going to a Jewish school or you're going to a Muslim school, you must have a full appreciation. But simply saying faith schools are wrong per se, I kind of side with...
So
if I want my kiddie to go to a Catholic school, if I was one...
A faith academy. I know, but that's what I'm saying. If you choose to be a Catholic as an adult, that's your choice.
But it's too simplistic.
How are you going to get to know about religion if you're not taught? You know, you're suggesting...
teach religion.
But you're suggesting that the parents don't talk to them about religion either. A parent's whole job is to create... It's to create an ethos for their kids, to give them a moral
if they
code.
care, if the kids care, parents
if
care.
The parents care. And any Catholic kid who goes to a Catholic faith school is not going to be indoctrinated because they'll have been taught about God since the day they were born.
But I don't... So
Michelle,
I don't agree with that. I don't believe that parents should instil their religious beliefs onto
religion,
children.
Michelle?
Nothing's wrong with religion, and I actually go to church on occasion.
But it's not working,
that is my
Michelle?
choice as an adult.
Michelle, can I ask a question I think the viewer might be asking, which is, do you have a problem with, let's say, nativity plays in a church primary school, or do you have a problem with the fact that as Nicky Morgan, who, when she was Education Secretary, once told me that Ofsted and the education authorities are too frightened to go into some Muslim academies around Birmingham because they didn't feel they were welcome, they didn't feel they could have a presence there. What actually are you worried about?
You've hit on a really important point, because I have a massive problem with faith academies, because faith academies...
They don't have to teach the national curriculum.
No, they can just do whatever they want.
So,
and I think that
explain what the danger is.
Well, you can't just teach your kid whatever you... Because let's not be...
Well, but there is some evidence
if you're a Catholic or you're CV or you're an Anglican, yes, you want to teach your kids your beliefs.
That's not what I said. I'm talking about a faith
work.
academy whereby you don't even need to follow the curriculum.
Well, if we're
you can just do whatever you want.
But Carol, it doesn't work. Yeah. Most of the people I know who went to Catholic secondary schools are more anti-Catholic than anybody else I know, I think, because they were taught often by nuns who they couldn't stand, who treated them badly, particularly the women.
That's not my point. It's not about what you come out whether you're religious or not. My point is that religious schools work educationally. Their results are way higher than schools that aren't faith schools.
So what's wrong with that?
You can't judge just by results, can you? So you have a bunch of children who are top of the table, but they're deeply unhappy, or they're not well settled. No, I'm not saying that, but you can't judge. There is more to an education than simply being top of the table.
But
honestly,
they have separated the two in America from the beginning. State and religion were separate because there were so many different religions.
And in the French lycée system.
Yes, and I personally think it's a shame we didn't go down that road. I don't think there's much chance of us going there now.
No, I don't think we'll ever achieve what I want. But can I just introduce this clip from my new favourite person?
Tony Blair.
No, he's not Tony Blair, no, he's Andrew Copson, and he's the Chief Exec of the Humanist UK. The reason he's my favourite person today is because he agrees with me.
State faith schools divide children by their parental beliefs, when what we should be doing is bringing children from different backgrounds together to make a better future. They're allowed to vary the curriculum. They don't have to teach objectively about different values and beliefs, when what we should be doing for our children is giving them access to the broad range of the world's traditions so they can make their own minds up. And they also divide people socially, disadvantaging the poorest in our society, because the ways their admissions processes work means that only really pushy middle-class parents often get access to those schools.
I wonder how many
Smart
faith
guy,
schools.
I like him.
I wonder how many faith schools he's been in. Not many, by the sound of it. They're not divisive.
Did you go to a faith school, by the way?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I kind of get that.
And the thing is that I'm not a staunch Catholic, but it did teach me some values. It did teach me stuff that to this day I follow the rules of, and I think that's pretty important.
I'm going to rate that debate outstanding. Up next, after the break, I'll be delivering a serving of reality to the panel.